So Beauty Bay have come out with another collection, and there's not one, but there's two palettes this time. Beauty Bay are a UK site that sells lots of different types of makeup and skincare and bits and bobs like that, and they came out with their own brand called By Beauty Bay. And ever since then I've been collecting their stuff, especially their eyeshadow palettes and especially their limited edition £20 eyeshadow palettes. So this is another one in that little series. This is called the Celestial Charms palette. First of all, loving the outer packaging of this, and we have the mini charms. Now this one retails for £16 and it's got 20 shades in it. This one retails for £10 and it has 9 shades? 9 shades. This is another in a long line of their limited edition palettes that they release, and I do have a playlist with a lot of those palettes in it if you want to check it out. But before we talk about anything else, let's get into the close-ups and the swatches.
I was the girl all alone in the corner, drinking by yourself on a Saturday night. You were the guy with your friends at the doorway, pretending that you had the time of your life. Had we met before, instant chemistry, I was so glad you came. Had we met before, laughing instantly, but it didn't feel like thunder or lightning, but something struck me when I was looking into your eyes. Wasn't love at first sight, and fire burning bright, but now I know what it was like coming home.
As you can see, an interesting collection. Now this also did come with 2 new lip products. One, well I say new, one is a plumping one, and I've had it before. It's like a plumping gloss. I really didn't like it. And the other one looks like a shimmery, celestial, glittery, sparkly kind of lip gloss situation. Now you couldn't buy them separately, you had to buy them together, and there was no way I was buying the plumping one again. So I thought I'm just going to skip out on the lip products and just pick up the palettes this time, because actually for £10 for 9 shimmer shades that are meant to be shifty. I'm not sure if I've got some duochromes in here, because as you're watching this I haven't actually swatched it. And then usually in the £20 palettes there isn't usually shifty shades. They are more your traditional type of shimmers, maybe with a few flecks of different colours, but this is deep, moody, delicious. It kind of reminded me a little bit of one of their other limited edition palettes that they brought out, which was the Age of Opulence. So I've grabbed it out of my collection so that we can compare. So this one is the Age of Opulence and this one is the new one, Celestial Charms. I've been saying dreams, I don't know. So as you can see, this one has got a lot more blues. This one is a little bit more purpley and red. They are different. Do you need both if you already have the Age of Opulence? I will leave that up to you, because I am a completionist when it comes to these limited edition palettes, and I'm going to be collecting them all. Now usually Beauty Bay formula I quite like. I think it's really good for the price. It's not my favourite formula on the market, but it is really, really nice and I do enjoy working with it. Now, I will say I prefer the mattes over the shimmers, because some of the shimmers have a very foily, putty-like consistency that are quite difficult to pick up on a brush. You can of course use your finger or a sponge tip applicator, but not all of the shimmers in the Beauty Bay palettes are the same formula. So just be aware of that if you aren't keen on the putty ones. Just by looking and not swatching, I feel like I can see 3 of the putty ones already, and the rest of them look more your traditional formula for shimmers. And although this is a predominantly sort of rich, deep palette, we do have some light shades, which is nice. But we have 1 light matte here, and we have 2 lighter shimmers. So that's good, we do have some options. There's not that many mid-tones. It's like, it's a depth palette. Kind of like the Age of Opulence was. I do think it's really pretty. Is it my favourite colour story that they've come out with in these £20? No. Then we have the mini charms. I'm so excited to see them do something like this, because this is what they needed to do. Like, how many more eyeshadow palettes like this can they come out with in different colourways? But this is something completely different. So I'm really glad that they've done this, and that it was separate as well. So you don't have to pick up both, you can pick up one or the other. But for £10, 9 shades. This was a little bit smaller than I imagined in my mind. When I opened this, I was expecting the pan sizes to be the same size as in here. they're not. They're smaller. So just be aware of that. But I think, again, 9 shimmer shades for £10, and if they are all shifty, which they kind of do look shifty, I hope I was able to show you that if they are shifty on the swatches and close-ups, but it looks cute, and if it's good, this could be a little gem. Now I will prime with my Beauty Bay eyeshadow primer, and I am running out, so I don't often use it anymore because I'm having to get right to the bottom of it. Now usually how I like to do looks, I like bold, dramatic, colourful looks, and I usually do a lot of depth in the outer corner and then sort of mid-tone toward the middle of the eye and then super light toward the inner corner. That's typically how I like to do my makeup. I'm not quite sure what we're going to do today because, like I said, there is a lot of depth in this palette. Now I do own all of the limited edition eyeshadow palettes from Beauty Bay that they brought out in this £20 style, so I'm kind of used to by now the quality and sort of formula that they have. So for me, if it's the same, this is more going to be about the colour story and different colour combinations that you can do. Now I'm going to do one look in this video. If you would like to see more looks with this palette, then please do let me know in the comments and I can definitely do that. But I'm thinking, I mean, it's not an easy colour story for me personally to look at because, like I say, I like a lot more lighter shades and mid-tone shades to play with in general. We're going to do something deep. Is that a black? Omen? I feel like, I don't know if it's a full black. That could be a super deep brown. I like the fact that we've got this pop of orange down here, but then I am also wanting to use one of the shimmers from here. So, choices. I think what I might do is start out with the shade Andromeda, which is this interesting looking purpley shade here. And I might do a halo eye. I much prefer a cut crease type of situation. They are much more my comfort zone. However, today apparently we're going for halo. This could be a mistake. So I'm just going to start to press that into the inner corner. Wow. Okay. Usually, like I say, the mattes from Beauty Bay I really enjoy. It's very rare that I'll come across a dud shade. Like, I can think of the Nikki Tutorials palette that didn't have the best formulas in it, but all of these limited edition ones, I've really enjoyed the mattes. I've not had any issues with them whatsoever. And as you can see, this is super pigmented and such a delicious colour. Now, the reason I don't particularly like halo eyes is because I have to really watch what I'm doing with my shape and be very careful. So, slowly, catchy monkey, because I kind of want it to be, you know, I'd be interested to know what people think to this specific colour story now that they've seen it revealed, because I feel like it's going to be a bit of a Marmite one. Like, people are either going to not be interested and think it's kind of boring, or they're absolutely going to love it, especially for like coming up to Christmas and Halloween with these nice rich deep tones. Okay, this shade is stunning. It is. And I don't think I'm going to leave a gap on the lower lash line. I think I'm just going to take that all the way around. And then I'm just going to slowly, with a clean fluffy brush, just start to blend that out. And I feel like looking at the palette, there are lots of different tones of purple. Like, there are warm tone ones like the one I'm using. There are more cooler tone purples. But I feel like actually seeing it in person, matte wise, it's sort of purpley red. That is the main vibe. Like, there is a teal shade in there, which is a little bit random, I have to say. It does complement purples nicely, but just having the one, and it's fairly deep, is interesting. Okay, then I think I want to go into the shade Lyra, which is this one here. And this is going to be interesting because sometimes the Beauty Bay mattes, although pigmented and blendable, aren't the most buildable. And obviously I'm going to be, wow, that picked up a lot, and there's a lot of kickback in the pan. Wow. Yeah, we're really going to start to see if this is buildable and how buildable. I'm getting fallout. Yeah, I should have kind of guessed that that was coming. Maybe do your eyes before you base, is my advice. But no, so far that is packing on very nicely. Do we go in with a little bit of black as well? It would be rude not to while we're here. And like I'm saying, I don't really know if this Omen shade is full on black or not, but we're going to see. We're going to pop it on the eye and we're going to build a third shade. That picked up a lot as well. That has a lot of kickback in the pan. Just be very careful. I'm just going to pack that onto the very, very outer corner and inner corner. Yeah, I'm seeing a tiny bit of issues building up. Tiny bit of patchiness that's easily covered up, but still it is there and it was noticeable just on that outer corner. But I will work on that blend, and that is kind of typical for what I know about the Beauty Bay mattes. If you build and build and build shades on top of each other, they don't particularly like that. They quite like just sticking to whatever base you've got on your eye, which obviously mine was the Beauty Bay eyeshadow base. They like that a lot. So this is generally why I start out with my deepest shade, especially with Beauty Bay mattes, and then go slightly lighter and lighter and lighter as I go. But with halo eyes, I don't like to do that. I like to start out with a lighter shade and then build. So at least we have seen that, but I mean, it's salvageable. It's not terrible. So this has got very dramatic very quickly, and I'm just going to start taking the shade Luna, which is a very, very light matte, and I'm just going to start fluffing that on a big fluffy brush just on the edges, just so that it looks a little bit more blended out and seamless. But this is very dramatic. I wasn't planning on it being this dramatic, but yeah, that's usually the case with me, isn't it? Now we definitely have options for shimmers because I have bought both of the palettes, but I really wanted to use these shimmers from this palette because I've just literally seen the shift. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to show you. Oh, I've just seen the shift as I've picked that up. Okay. Is this doing anything whatsoever? Can you see that there's a shift? I'm not sure. Okay, so we could go on full on sort of Halloween vibes and go in with Comet, which is the orange from the bigger palette. Beautiful. There is also Cosmos. I think it's going to get lost. What about Galaxy? Again, might get lost. We've got Crescent, which is a lighter one. Don't think it stands out enough for my liking. Orb. Oh, Orb's cute. Oh, but again, not sure it's right for this look. I'm really liking that orange. Okay, so far I'm liking the orange in that palette, but now looking at this one, like I say, I haven't swatched everything, even though you've seen the swatches. There is sort of an orangey shade in here. The other thing that I will say about this palette, it's got a name sheet. Now, if you know me and you've been on my channel for a while, you know how much I hate a name sheet. It does not belong in our day and age any longer. Either don't name the shades or put the shade names on the palette. I'm not going to talk about it anymore, but I just wanted to make you aware. So Infinity is the orangey, peachy, pink shade. Oh, that. It does go from a fiery peach to a pink. That is stunning. Then the one in the middle is like a blue to a pink, I think. Oh, a bluey purple. That would be cute too. We do actually have a purple. Purpley silver. What's this one? This is like a white to a pink. That would be so nice as well. Oh, now I don't know what to do. Oh, that is a tealy pinky purple. Oh, I like this. Just in case you weren't aware. Okay, what I'm going to do, because I'm crazy, is take this Comet shade, which is the orange, and I'm just going to stick it down the middle of the lid. Not being precise or anything like that. And yes, orange and purple don't mix on the colour wheel. However, because this is a shimmer, it's not going to be that bad, you know? And we are kind of now getting Halloween vibes with this, which I'm not mad about whatsoever. Then I'm going to go in, I think I'm going to take this one, which is the first one I swatched from this palette, which was the shade Infinity. It looks more peach. When I hold it up, it looks more pink. Should I go with that one? I'm just going to start adding a little bit of the first matte while I'm thinking about what shimmer to add to the very middle. the Andromeda shade that we started with, just dabbing that on the edges of where it meets that orangey shade. Then I'm taking that Infinity shade and I'm just going to tap it over the very centre just to add a little bit more glitz, you know? Oh yeah, yes and yes. Oh, that's pretty. Okay guys, we're looking very, very dramatic. I feel like the shimmers and the orange actually goes really, really well with the purple. So let me jump off, stick something in my waterline, put on some mascara and lashes, and then we'll come back and see the finished look, and we'll also add one of these as a highlighter. Okay, so I went in the waterline with the Colourpop Cream Gel Liner in Piggybank. I'm not sure if they do this one anymore or not. And I did use the Cosmic Brushes Lashes. I think these are in the style Megan. I just wanted something a little bit dramatic since we've got a very, very dramatic look on. And I'm excited to use one of these as a highlighter, because if these can double up as well as a highlighter, 2-in-1 uses, and for £10, then this could be amazing. And I'm thinking I might go for the one, because I've got a bit of an orangey cheek going on here. I might go for the one here, Infinity, that we used on the middle of the lid. That could be cute. So let me just like get some on my brush and hope that this could look cute. That is beautiful. That is a beautiful pinky orange. Oh, and it just matches the eye look so well because it's the same shade. Wow. Shall we even use a little bit of that shade just on the brow bone as well? I mean, we're full on dramatic at this point. We might as well also put it on the brow bone. I absolutely love that shade as a highlight. How nice does that look? Not sure if it would work with all of them, but so far, so good. Now, I do have a lot of fallout on my face right now from the matte shades, so I would definitely recommend doing the eyes and then your base if you are going in with those deep pigmented mattes, just so you don't have all the little tiny little speckles that I've got right now. But as well, I am quite heavy-handed, but there was a lot of fallout with a lot of the matte shades in this palette. I actually really like how dramatic, deep and sort of bold this look is. Like I say, not my favourite colour story from Beauty Bay for these £20 limited edition releases, just because I like a little bit more variety in different depths of shade, but I know that a lot of people are going to like this colour story, like I say, especially for upcoming Christmas and Halloween, and I think it's nice. It's a very similar quality so far to the Beauty Bay palettes that I'm used to, but of course I haven't used every shade. How many shades did I use? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from this palette and 2 from this palette. So that's not too bad, but I definitely need to use it a lot more. This is obviously just a first impressions, but from first impressions, I mean, it's what I'm used to. Now, as I said before, the mattes, they're not typically the most buildable, so I would really recommend with the Beauty Bay matte starting out with your deeper shade and then blending it with the lighter and lighter and lighter, rather than trying to build shade on top of shade on top of shade. And that orange shade that I did use is one of the putty-like shades, which I know not everyone is the biggest fan of that formula, but I did pick it up on my finger and apply it to the lid, and there wasn't an issue. It's not my favourite formula of shimmer. I do prefer the other formulas that Beauty Bay do, but I'm excited to use this palette some more, play around with it and see what I think to it. But it is predominantly a purpley red palette. Like I say, this random sort of deep tealy colour, it's beautiful, but because it's on its own, I would have liked it to have a slightly lighter friend with it, you know? But I am pleased to see that we did have some lighter shades in this. Like, we do have this one, which did make it more seamless and easier to blend out the very edges, and we do have a super light shimmer. So if you was just picking this one up alone without this palette, then I think you're kind of covered. But yeah, overall, like, it is quite a deep palette, and that's not what I typically reach for a lot, but I do think it is a nice palette, and it's not a bad colour story. I just think it doesn't fit personally with my preference of how I like to do my eyeshadow. Now, the mini Charms palette, so far blown away. I've used 2 shades on the lid and I think they're beautiful. I've used one of those shades as a highlighter and it is absolutely stunning. Like, seriously, looking at this highlighter on my cheek, I would pay £10 just for a highlighter to look like that. But this has got 9 shades and it's highlighter and eyeshadow, and they're all sort of shifty duochromes. This is a first impression, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is a little bargain. Like the shimmers on the lid, the shiftiness, the fact that you get 9 shades, yes they are on the smaller side, but I just think for £10, this is a genius idea from Beauty Bay. Really happy to see this, would definitely recommend picking this one up if you were thinking about it. If you already have a lot of shades like this, behave or don't. So guys, please do let me know, are you picking up anything from the new collection? Are you picking up the lip products as well? Like I say, that plumping lip gloss is not for me. It hurts and it's just shiny and there's no colour to it, and it's just, that was not for me. Absolutely not. But these palettes, so glad to have another one of the limited edition in my collection. Because like I say, I collect them all. Even if I'd have hated this cool story, I'd have still picked it up and reviewed it for you guys. And I'm so happy to have this one. We need more of these. I'm not sure if this one is limited edition as well. Hopefully not, because if it is, like, run out and grab it now. This would be an amazing Christmas present for somebody that is just getting into makeup, even for children, even for me. So guys, please do let me know what you think to this look, what you think to these palettes, what you think to the name sheet. Like I say, I do have a Beauty Bay playlist if you want to check out any of the other palettes that they've brought out, and I do have a palette ranking. Not that every palette that I now own is in that ranking, but it's got a lot of palettes in that ranking. Hopefully you enjoyed the video guys, and I will leave down below my socials as well as my Patreon and YouTube membership, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Bye!